Hello again. Welcome to Chapter 11. I think we are up to Section 4 there. We're now talking about solving two-step equations. In the last video, we looked at what happens when you have negative numbers in an equation you're trying to solve. We talked about the reciprocal, adding the opposite number, and keeping that thing balanced, isolating your variable to 1x or whatever the variable is. Well, what we have not seen yet is what's called a two-step equation. Okay, a two-step equation is an equation where there is both addition. Now that could be subtraction as well, but remember how we can change subtraction to addition by adding the opposite, so I kind of group them as one. So I'll just say addition and multiplication. Now again, it could be division, because again we can rewrite division problems as multiplication with keep, change, change. So you have, but we'll just call it addition and multiplication. Okay, now this particular slide, we're not going to work it out here. I just want you to see that all of these are two-step equations. Okay, I just want you to look at them for a moment and see it's two-step equation because number one, it has the variable has addition and multiplication. It has two things you're going to have to undo. Number two has subtraction, but again, remember we could change it, boom, boom, you got addition right there. And it's being multiplied by 1/2 or divided by 2. Again, number 8, there's your multiplication and there's your addition. So two things are happening to the variable. Now the last one might not look like it, number 4, but if we recall that that's 1, and if we think of that as plus negative 1, you actually have this 8 is being added and this negative 1 is being multiplied. So technically, there are two things happening to that equation in number 4. And we'll show you how to take care of that in a few minutes. Well, look at these steps. You're on page 9 in your notes, and I just noticed that on your notes, I actually have that word typed in there. It wasn't supposed to be, but it gives you one less thing to write on there, opposite. This slide is step by step how to get through a two-step equation, and it's relatively painless if you'll follow these steps. The first thing that you always have to do is undo the addition by adding the opposite. Okay, so you always want to get rid of the addition before you deal with anything else. So whatever number is added on the variable side, you add the opposite and get rid of it. Okay, after you've done that, then you want to simplify both sides. Now basically what simplify means is think of it as doing the math. Okay, if you're going to add 2 to both sides, well then do it. Okay, that's what simplify essentially means. Alright, after you've gotten rid of the addition, the third thing you want to do is undo the multiplication or division. And we've seen how to do that. Use the inverse operation. Now that's where you might divide it if it's being multiplied. You might multiply a reciprocal if it's being multiplied by a fraction. Okay, all things that should be reviewed at this point in the class, hopefully. After you've done that, you want to look and make sure that you have your variable isolated. Make sure you didn't miss something at some point, but x, whatever the variable is, has to be by itself. And then the last thing you should do is you should check your answer by substituting it back into the original equation to see if that's true. Even if you do that with a calculator, it's really foolish to not do that because you can. You can check to see that you've got the answer right. So I'm going to be following these steps as we work out some of the problems coming up here. But before we do that, just remember the golden rule here. When you choose to do something to one side, make sure you do it to the other side as well. Okay, you're keeping a scale balanced, like this one. If I take a look at number 1, the first thing that my steps said I should do is I should undo this plus 6 by adding negative 6. So I'm going to add negative 6 like that. Alright, now I'm going to simplify. That was the next step, right? Simplify means do the math. So that's 0. So now I'm going to add these two numbers here. Okay, 24 plus negative 6. Now notice I still have 3x. That 3x has to wait. Okay, because 3 is being multiplied by the x. So we're going to wait to this point. Now we're going to undo the multiplication. Okay. And we're going to do that by the inverse operation. Whoops, I didn't put it on there. We're going to divide that by 3. Sorry about that. I'm going to make, I lost all my writing. That's okay. Should be on your paper. I'm going to divide that by 3. I'm going to divide that by 3 there. There's your 1x, right? That 3 over 3 is 1. And then you do 18 divided by 3 and get 6. Now, I mentioned you should check your answer. So here's how you do it. Now, you can do this on the calculator, but just let me make sure it's clear. You're going to take this number and put it back in there. 3 times 6, then I've got plus 6 right here. 3 times 6 plus 6, and you're going to work that out. 6 times 3 is 18 plus 6, that's 24. If you did it right, it has to match what it equals, because that's the whole point of this. All right, let's take a look at number 2 here. I have 1/2 x minus 8, so I'm going to add 8 to both sides. Again, we're trying to undo that. Again, thinking of that as plus negative 8 makes more sense to me. All right, negative 8 plus 8 is 0. So you're left with this 1/2 x here. All right, now here's a reciprocal problem. You're going to multiply that times 2 over 1, because that will make this turn into 1. So you have to do the same thing over here. You have to multiply that by 2. You end up with 1x is 48, because 24 times 2 is 48. And again, you could substitute this in here. 1/2 times 48 plus 8 is 16. Okay, if I have, I'm sorry, plus negative 8. I thought something didn't look right there. Remember it was minus 8, it's plus negative 8. 1/2 times 48 is 24, plus negative 8. That works out to be 16, which is the answer. Therefore, x does equal 48. Okay, let's take a look at number 3 here. All right, number 3, negative 5x plus 7. All right, remember what we undo first? Addition. So add negative 7 to both sides. Do the math, straight downhill. All right, that's 0, so you have negative 5x. You have negative 5 times x, so I'm going to divide it by negative 5. Divide that by negative 5. Okay, 40 divided by negative 5 equals negative 8, and again you could substitute it back in, which I do recommend you do. Again, negative 5 times negative 8 plus 7, work that out to see if that equals positive 47. Well, negative times negative is positive. 40 plus 7, 47. Found it. Okay, the answer is negative 8. The last one for this video, 8 minus x. We're going to put in a 1 right there and change it to addition. That's what you should do there, because then you can really see that that's negative 1x. Now, we're going to add negative 8 to both sides. All right, and you end up with negative 1x, right, is right there. So again, we can keep that 1 in there. Now what we want to do is divide that by negative 1 and divide that by negative 1. That's pretty easy math, I think. 19 divided by negative 1 is negative 19. Again, you want to put it in there. 8 minus negative 19. Okay, see if that equals 27. Minus negative, boom, boom. 8 plus 19, 27. It's true. The answer, x is negative 19. Okay, we have one video to go, and that will be it for the whole class. I'm pretty sure we can finish the next one in one video as we look at the next step in solving equations. What happens if I have variables on both sides, or if I have parentheses in there, and poof, you'll be done. So we'll see in a bit as we knock out chapter 11.